Bandwidth for all shows on the Aussie Tech Heads network is supplied by Aussie Tech Heads Web Hosting. For a fast, affordable and reliable Australian server with fantastic support, contact Aussie Tech Heads Web Hosting at aussietechheads.com.au. Aussie Tech Heads, Australia's best hosting service.
Hi everyone, and it's episode 373 of Aussie Tech Heads. We're here, we're back for another year, back for another week. Happy New Year to everyone, and hope your New Year is as prosperous and a healthy one as can be. All right, we've missed doing the show over the last couple of weeks actually, and we're back here tonight. We've only got a couple on board this week, but we'll plough through, and we'll see how we go. We got two and a half on the panel this week. Will is trying to come through. It's like a bit of, like a signal trying to come through a storm. He's here, he's not. He's here, he's not. But he should be joining us soon. Hopefully, if all goes well with his little computer. But yes, the weekly show is brought to you by athwebhosting.com.au. If you need some web hosting for your business, or you just want a personal blog, you can just jump on to athwebhosting.com.au. Affordable plans, Australian servers, and they are nice and fast on Australian soil, so there's no worries about NSA snooping. Hopefully. And anyway, all right. Welcome, Shane. How you doing?
Good, Glenn. Good. Did you have a good break? Good Chrissy and all that?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Yeah, it was good. It was probably the first year since I started doing the podcast that I've actually broke over Christmas. So it was good. It is actually it was a good break, yes. But yeah, I miss doing the podcast, so we're back. So that's good.
So up to the Christmas, we were like Steve Gibson and never missed a beat.
That's pretty much right. I think I might have missed 1 week when I was crook. I think that's when you and Will stepped in. And
the show still happened, but
that's right. Yes, but anyway, so we're back. So anyway, we're going to go straight through this year and right up until probably next Christmas or the coming Christmas. That's right. Look, we've got heaps of stories. We've picked out probably the more current ones. We're not going to rehash what's happened over the Christmas period because obviously, we've got the Twitter. We've got the Aussie Tech Heads Twitter news feed, which keeps you up to date. If you want to follow that, it's at Aussie Tech News, and you can follow that one and keep up to date. 3 hot topics, hot off the press stories every half an hour into your Twitter feed. So jump in and get on that. And also the paper, which is at aussietechheads.com.au/paper. Now, the guys who listen to us, who are listening on the retransmission on the Phase FM, 104.5 on the dial, or phasefm.com.au, you can email us. Because I don't think we've mentioned our emails too much before, but you can email any one of us at Glenn, Will, Eric, Shane, Jason at aussietechheads.com.au. So you can do anyone. You can find any one of us. So if you've got something to say or some feedback, please, we welcome feedback. And also from the dudes on the podcast. There's also, listening on the podcast, there's also videos of the show which goes out into the YouTube land, and that's at youtube.com/Aussie Tech Heads, or the latest one each week is off the main page of aussietechheads.com.au/podcast. All right, so I'm sure you will find us if you really have to, or you will find us. Just Google us, and we'll be there. Now, each week, Shane gives us a hand with he goes through and picks out some things that have happened on this day or through this week back in history, and it's all thanks to Tom Merritt's Chronology of Tech. And Shane, which ones have you pulled out for us this week?
Because of the break, I have actually gone back to the beginning of January. So right. I'll just go through them and just let me know if when you want me to kind of stop, because I think it's about 10.
All right.
So we'll just start at the top. January 1939. In a garage in Palo Alto, California, William Hewlett and David Packard founded Hewlett-Packard, a little company that made audio oscillators and later touchpads.
everything happens in Palo Alto, doesn't it? January 1, 1939. So, oh, look, just before you go on further with that, I've just seen Will poke his head in. So I better say g'day, Will. Hi, Will. How you doing?
How do?
Good, thank you. And welcome back. Happy New Year, and hope you had a Merry Christmas, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's great theory.
Yeah. All right. So I thought it looks like you've rebooted and you're joining us here live as well. So let's keep going with Shane. And so now you've been introduced. Will, you can chime in whenever you like. All right, Shane. So we've just done January 1st. Why January 1st? I wonder. Must have had nothing to do on the New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
All right.
Was that a quiet one?
That's right. Yeah, Shane, keep going, please.
Another one on January 1, 1983. A new internet and transmission control protocol. Yes, it was called IPTCP back then, by some at the time. Went into effect on the ARPANET, replacing the network control protocol, which I believe is an IBM thing. The result was ARPA Internet combining ARPA hosts for the first time. Obviously, now it is now called TCP/IP. They switched it around.
Oh, that will confuse a lot of people. And look, I've got a little story about TCPs and IPs and DHCPs, but I'll tell you after this because Shane helped me out. Yeah, keep going. Thanks, Shane.
January 2, 1979, Dan Bricklin and Bob Frankston incorporated software arts for the purpose of developing VisiCalc, the world's first spreadsheet program.
Wow, 1979. VisiCalc. That would have been probably, on a nice green screen? Or a nice blue screen. It's something really boring. It's a spreadsheet. I wonder if they got the graphics.
Yeah.
Would they have lines? Or would they just have stuck a sheet of clear stuff over it, like overhead projector and stuff with the lines on it?
Oh, like the transparency stuff.
Yeah. All right, sorry. We digress and wonder. Yes.
January 3, 1977, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak incorporated Apple Computer Company. Ron Wayne famously backed out, selling his shares back for $800. Ouch.
Ooh.
And I can't remember the exact figure, but I do remember hearing or reading later on that if he kept them, he'd be a squillionaire.
But you do what you have to do in this world, I think, and obviously there's always benefit of hindsight in everything you do. But $800. Like if you had shares in some company and it wasn't going too well, of course you're going to go, well, I just want to get rid of these. And then 20 years down the track, so it strikes gold and, it's multi-billion. We go, well, I'll kick myself for selling them, but, you do what you have to do. That's ironic how things work. But anyway, next one, please.
True. January 5th, 1984, Richard Stallman began working on the GNU or GNU operating system, a free Unix-like operating system. GNU/Linux is seen as the most successful outgrowth of that project. Anyone
here using Linux? Will, do you use Linux?
I don't use it on my day-to-day system, but I now have a Raspberry Pi, which is sort of I'm using it as a media center. So It has RaspBNC and a few other Linux-based variants on that. So over the Christmas holidays, I refamiliarized myself with Linux, and I forgot how much I actually enjoyed using it.
Yeah, look, I've installed Linux on a machine. I haven't used it, done it for a while. But yeah, it's got the nice window GUI sort of a feel, I suppose. Oh, this is like a while back now. It's probably 1,000 times better even. I think you can even get Linux for touchscreens and all this sort of stuff now. But yeah, look, it's not too bad. You can get programs for it as well, like, Photoshop type programs. So yeah, and pretty much it's all pretty free. So if you don't like the Microsoft, as some people they don't like the corporations and all that sort of stuff, you can do the Linux and still have access to some of the other programs out there that help you be productive. Yeah, Shane, let's keep going.
January 6, 2004, Apple debuted the iPod Mini, a diminutive 4 GB or 4 GB version of the iPod, available in 5 colors spelt the American way, at $249.
Wow. All right. I didn't get one. Next one.
Moving on.
Yes.
January 7, 1954, in New York at IBM headquarters, IBM and Georgetown University showed off their joint project on machine translation. More than 60 sentences were translated from Russian to English using 8 grammar rules.
Yeah, right. Google's doing that now every time you go to a page. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Things move ahead.
January 8th, 1989, Herman Hollerith received a patent for the electronic tabulating machine. His tabulating machine company would go on to merge with three others and be called International Business Machines,
Wow,
known today as IBM.
1889, that's a long time ago. And, yes, and keep going.
All right, January 9, 1992, Apple CEO John Sculley coined the term Personal Digital Assistant, or PDA, and indicated Apple would get into the business of making them later that year. And I'm guessing that's probably around about the same time that the Newton came around.
Never had a PDA either. And next one, I use iTunes. Yeah, next one.
January 9, 2001, Apple introduced iTunes for the Macintosh, featuring CD ripping, digital music organizing, and internet radio.
Internet radio?
Isn't it funny how one of the worst programs ever written is one of the most popular?
What was that?
Happens everywhere.
iTunes. It's a horrible piece of software.
Yeah, but how does...
I refuse to have it in this house, let alone on this computer. If one of my friends brings his computer around with iTunes on it, the laptop has to stay outside. I don't want it anywhere near my computers in case it infects them via just being near them.
Oh, no. I've got iTunes on my stuff. It's all right. It's all right. It's easy.
Yeah, but this is coming from somebody who thinks Windows 8's okay, so, there's not a lot of weight being held there.
Windows 8 is all right. 8.1 up, that's we're up to now, Will. We've moved on since 8.
Oh, yeah, the 0.1 makes a big difference. There's a huge difference between Windows 3.1 and 3.11.
You're so 2013. All right. We better do, how many more? Let's do 2 more.
Sorry, probably okay.
Yeah, do 2 more,
I'm going to
please.
squeeze 3 out of you.
Oh, we'll
January 10, 2008, Sony BMG became the last major label to agree to sell DRM-free MP3s. January 11, 2005, Apple introduced the first iPod Shuffle, a music player with no screen and flash memory.
Well, there you
There's
go.
only one left anyway. Go on, let me do it. There's only one left. Go on.
All right. Go on.
January 12, 1964, Jeff Bezos was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He would grow up to study computer science at Princeton and set the standard for online shopping with the company known as Amazon.com.
Oh, why wasn't that my idea, eh? Why wasn't that my idea? If someone's got a good idea, can I come in with you? Please? Come on. All right. Well, that's the chronology of tech, Shane's chronology of tech, the ones that he pulled out that he thought were relevant and exciting, that excited him to pieces. And so, yeah, cool. Next up, we're going to have a lot of stories. And we're going to get back straight into bring you up to date with what's been happening in Australia in the tech in the last couple of weeks, and more importantly, last week, and from Australia and around the world. Okay, back soon. Okay, thanks for sticking with us. Now, Will, we haven't heard from you for a long time. What's been tickling your fancy this week?
That would be none of your business.
It's always my business.
Yeah, I've been having weird tech things, just in general day-to-day situations, just having weird need for tech that sort of I thought we'd move beyond. But it's been quite refreshing to have some of the old-fashioned things come back, like dedicated NASA's that don't cost a fortune, and because everybody was going Drobo and they're going these multi-drive things, and somebody asked me the other day, they said, I just want a basic backup, just automatically networked,
Yep, just
looking
nice
around.
and easy.
Oh yeah, there's a NAS link station, $125, 2 terabytes, done.
Yep.
Plug it in, it worked.
Yep. I can get that.
Well,
I'm not sure if you know, Will, but through the week, my little, probably 2 weeks ago, my little Windows Home server, it sort of didn't really die to the point of extinct, but it became really slow, and I thought I'd move on to something better. And the NASs did cross my mind, in particular the free NAS. But, at the end of the day, I decided I wanted to move on to, you're going to laugh at this, but I moved on to Server 2012. because I thought I needed a server. I just
Of course you have. Why
just-
wouldn't you?
that's just what I do.
That seems like a perfectly logical progression.
that's right. And and also to make things just more involved, I put it up onto a virtual server. So I put it so it's running under VMware, and I tell you, I had heaps of problems. I put it all together. It was all sort of going, sort of not going. But
Good. You deserve every single one of those problems.
Well, and look, and while I'm talking about my server,
it's your own fault. I've got no sympathy for you at all.
I know, but look, I tell you, it's all running pretty smooth now. Fingers crossed, and it's thanks to the other host here, Shane. So thank you, Shane, for spending some time with me the other night and getting it fixed. So that was great.
And
just a quick note to the chat room: I can't open the stream up, guys. It won't work for me. So if you are asking me questions, I'm sorry, I can't see this. I can't see the chat.
We'll still internet's whatever.
It's this show. This show is jinxed. I haven't had a single computer issue from the last time I was on the show. The second I logged into tonight, that's it.
Yeah, he's just internet challenged, bandwidth challenged. That's what he is.
I'm not bandwidth challenged. My bandwidth's fine. It just refuses to work.
I've
got plenty of it. It's just being lazy. It doesn't want to go anywhere.
Well, that's no good, is it?
Which actually kind of brings me to an interesting article. We got a letter in the. I don't know if you can see that, but I got a letter in the post office box.
We can see Knuckles.
Post box. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where my camera is. What is that? It's changed cameras. That's a problem. But yeah, so you can see it's from the NBN Co. Construction work in your area. So I thought, okay, that's pretty neat. Well, they've just put a new housing estate down the road. Now, up until that went in, there was absolutely no plans at all to put the NBN anywhere near this area. So I thought, okay, I'll go onto their website and I'll see what they've got to offer me. And the NBN works are complete down in the estate down the road there. And we are on a schedule works that absolutely has no time limit at all. And it stops 8 houses that way.
Oh, you got to feel. I feel for you, Will. I really feel for you. That's no good.
Come on, 8. I'll give you a carton of beer. Just run your cable this way. 8 more houses.
Oh, I'd give them 5 cartons of beer if it would work. But
the worst part was I got ahead of myself and I went and looked at prices, which I shouldn't have. An unlimited, what do they call it? Stage 4 plan, which is the 140. I think 100 up, 40, right. 100 down, 40 up. Or it's stage tier 4 or tier 5. So unlimited data on that speed is $85 a month. So, which at the moment I'm paying $120 a month to get 500 gig, supposedly 100 meg down, which actually isn't too bad, and about a meg up.
Well, you'll be happy to know that the host of the Aussie Mac Zone, which is the other one of our shows, Michael, he's on the NBN and he loves it. He loves it.
Yeah, what do you think? I've never watched the show. I refuse.
You can't watch it, Will. Yeah, you haven't got enough bandwidth.
And look, no, that's right. It's the streaming NASA, the streaming media server I got going on there. But that's interesting actually, because everyone says, oh, you don't, the average person doesn't need that much bandwidth, but it's getting to the point where the average person does. They just don't realize it. I mean, if you've got a house full of, let's say you've got the average, what's the average? 3 kids or 3.5 kids or something. So you've got, unless you're in like Goodner, then it's 12.5 kids with 14 heads between them. But
you want to be careful, Will. Goodner's not too far from where you are.
It's okay. I know most of them that agree. But yeah, you've got, let's say you've got, the parents both have a phone and all the kids have a smartphone these days. So there's 5 or 6 devices hanging off Wi-Fi there. And then there's half a dozen between iPads, tablets and laptops kicking around. And then somebody's got a PS, an Xbox 360 and a PS4 or whatever we're up to now. There's, and then they've got a media center or a smart TV that streams stuff straight off YouTube or whatever. Plus they've got 2 or 3 personal computers. these days your fridge has got a computer in it. It'll automatically reorder stuff for you. So, I mean, people don't realise, but they actually do need this sort of bandwidth these days.
Yeah, well, I know, like,
You know,
speaking of the fridges with the thingo internet, the houses that are being built now have got little Ethernet points at the fridge in the fridge bay. So yeah, it's all going on. I can't see why the fridges can't be wireless. What's wrong with them? So
yeah, how dare my fridge has to be hardwired?
I know, how dare it? How dare it?
What is this? 2013?
Yeah. What?
It's for the TV. That
Well, actually, my nephew.
Sorry, Shane, what was that?
My nephew just.
I was going to say it's the TV that they've got in the fridge door.
Oh, that's what it is. Yes,
Yeah,
that's what it is.
My nephew just bought a 65-inch OLED Samsung or something. It's the smart TV. He was all excited, got it home, had it all working with, and then went to go to the network, and he either had to hardwire it or he had to go back to the place he'd just come from and spend $25 to buy a Wi-Fi dongle for it.
Yeah, right. That's no
It's
good.
like he's just forked out $2,000 on this TV.
Yeah.
And they want to hit him $25 to put a Wi-Fi dongle in
it. Yeah, sometimes you think, for $25, but I suppose, everything costs money, so I guess. But you should have, at the time, if he had known at the time of buying it, he probably could have,
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, you think it's cost him another hour to go down there, get it, plus fuel. It's probably cost him, 100, if you work it out, $150, $200. Yeah. If you're charging for that sort of thing, it all adds up. And obviously the salesman you would think they'd be pushing for more sales. Although in their defense, they did offer him a monster HDMI cable at $147 for 1 meter.
Oh,
which of course he told them to go jump.
Yeah. What do you need that much for? What do you want to spend that much on them for? That's crazy.
Because they're monster. That's why.
Oh, yeah, right. Anything with monster in it, it's got to be good, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's got to be good.
It's got to be good because it says monster. High quality cable.
Yes. Well, look, I did promise some stories, but we will get to those right now. But I'm just going to go out and grab a drink, okay? So here's some tunes for you guys to listen to, and we'll be back soon. Okay, now we're back with some stories. Let's start off this episode with Microsoft.
Just one.
There's only one story tonight, yes. Microsoft trumps Apple in branding, takes the top spot. Now, Microsoft came out on top in a branding survey conducted by Forrester Research, beating Apple because of Microsoft's ubiquity in consumers' lives and its cross-generational appeal. Now, the survey polled more than 4,500 US adults last August. Microsoft came out the winner with Apple in second, Sony in third, and Samsung in fourth. So I guess, it's probably not too hard to believe that Microsoft does probably top, as this article was saying. Windows is everywhere. Like I don't think most people, if they go to work and there's a computer in the office, I would say, what would you say? It'd be 98%, surely. 98% would be Windows, a Windows PC.
Some variant of whether it be CE or embedded or something, yeah.
Yeah, there'd be something, So I'd say that's probably no real surprises. Did I have another Microsoft story? I'm not too sure. There's some...
The only other thing I wanted to say about that is, I said this when I got back from my trip. Every ad that I saw was a Microsoft ad. There was no Apple ads. There was no...
That's right.
It was either Microsoft or it was
but that's
about health stuff.
That's pretty much the case most places. I mean, you very rarely see, other than... Well, I guess you see iPhone ads, but most of those are by Optus or Tester or something. Apple itself really doesn't actually do much in the way of ads.
No, well, I've seen a few Apple ads around the place over here, but I think when Shane went to the US, he was saying that they were pretty much ad nauseum. They were just everywhere, every ad break, and even though Microsoft's starting to weasel their way, I wouldn't say weasel, but pay their way into shows, as I think we've discussed all this before. Y50 is a good one. I think the Apple products are probably in the shows that you see. It's pretty clever placement if they are paid for, but a lot of the shows, the laptops that they have just happen to be Apple. So I wonder if they are paid for. I don't know. But a story, Will, that'll make you happy is more than 1 billion Android devices are to ship next year. Does that make you happy?
It does. Unfortunately, the biggest problem is people still don't get it. They're still developing for Windows Mobile. They're still developing for BlackBerry. They're still developing for Apple, which is fine because there's plenty of those. But they don't develop for Android. It doesn't make any sense. It's the most ambiguous device now. It's going to be far more commonplace in coming time. I mean, partly because it's I guess free in terms of the operating system, but I don't understand why. Well, I was actually talking to one of the guys who develops. It's called BizWiz. It's business software. It's an Australian company, been around for 30 years, and he makes Windows CE compatible stuff. He makes BlackBerry compatible applications. Like it's a desktop program, but he makes all these Apple variants of it. And I said, we all use Android, all the tablets and all our devices are all Android. Why don't you have a device platform for us? He goes, oh, well, I don't think enough people use it. And that's the common misconception, because you see so many iPhones and iPads. Well, you don't, but you perceive to see them, because the people who have them, it was funny actually, over Christmas, it was a really good example of this. The people who have the Android phones, grab them, they do what they need to do, they put them away. The guys who have the iPhones and the Apple tablets and every variation there in between, they get it out, they hold it, they wave it around, let everybody know they've got one, they do a thing, they hold it up again. Exactly. And that's why, exactly like that. And that's why people just assume, I think, that this isn't helping. People just assume that the Apple product, unless you actually done the research, is a far more commonplace product. The truth of the matter is it's not, but whatever that perception stays in place, unfortunately, Android is going to become stagnant in some respects, because people are going to get upset with the lack of support by developers in this case, because they have a misconception of it. So, unfortunately, its success could also become its own failure.
Well, the number of smartphones and tablet computers shipped with Google's operating system will break the 1 billion barrier this year. This is from a research group, Gartner said on Tuesday. It's up 26% on last year, with the strongest demand in emerging markets. So this is, it's probably important to remember that this is just not phones. This is tablets and everything else that you can jam Android onto. So Apple's iOS and Mac OS operating.
That's the thing.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I was going to say that's the thing. It is so cross-platform, and now the last couple of versions have actually become, even though there's still, I guess, a phone version and a tablet version, they basically, in terms of user experience, finally after 5 years or whatever it is, have become pretty much the same. So it doesn't matter what device you grab, the experience is the same, and that has been a big issue, but that's been sorted now. So it can go on any device. Everything, like even the Raspberry Pi, which I keep mentioning because that's cool. It even has an Android operating system you can put on that. So
yeah, right.
It's such it's going to be everywhere.
Apple's iOS and macOS operating system are expected to be in around about the 344 million new iPhones, iPads, and Macs this year, and representing a 28% jump on the number of devices shipped in 2013. The Microsoft Windows operating system, which dominates PCs and notebook segments, is forecast to be in the 360 million new devices, which is up 300. Oh, what? That's not right. I think that's a mistake in the sentence. It's forecast to be. I'll read it as it's stated. It says it's forecast to be Microsoft Windows operating system is forecast to be 360 million new devices, up from 328 million. So, well, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So an extra 40 or so. That's right. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's right. Okay. Yeah, I just thought it was an increase from.
It just reads weird.
Yeah, it just read weird when I was blurting out those stats. All right. Look, we'll go across to Shane. Have you got a quick little story, Shane? Or because if not, I could probably pull one out.
Yeah, I do. I'll do this time of year, there's all these predictions, what's going to happen in 2014 and what was the best thing that happened in 2013. And then with CES on this week, contrary to my backdrop there, I'm not actually at CES. I tried to get Aussie Tech Heads to pay for a trip, but they weren't in it.
No.
So this is the best I could do.
Virtual trip, that was it.
What's wrong with you? Seriously.
I-
It's not like you got anything to do with your money.
I offered a virtual trip. But was rejected.
This quick little story that I'll do is where they've predicted 5 products that will be dead in 5 years. So the first one they mention is the Blu-ray/DVD player, and they reckon that'll die in 5 years thanks to streaming and on-demand services like Netflix or QuickFlix here, iTunes, and Foxtel.
Yeah, give it 5
2.
years because I think at the moment there's so much data on one of those discs. Like you probably really can't download 50 gig to watch a movie or whatever. But I think in 5 years, I think you'd probably be right. That's probably going to go the way of the dodo.
Yep. Standalone and in-car GPSs, again thanks to smartphones that have all got them built in.
Mine's already gone. Don't need 5 years.
Yeah, mine's in the glove box.
Yeah, yes and no. Yes and no on that one.
Dial-up internet.
There'll
although that
always
might take a little
be.
bit-
Yep. So go with
Sorry,
dial-up.
I'm just going to shut up. My leg's horrendous.
Go with dial-up.
Okay, so yeah, dial-up internet. Although that might take a little bit longer in Australia than 5 years for the last service to be canned.
People still love it.
Sorry.
They still love it. People still love dial-up.
True. Low-end digital cameras, like dedicated ones. Again, thanks to the smartphones. They say that the best camera is the one that they have on you, but smartphones have as good, if not better, cameras built in and cheaper dedicated cameras.
Yeah, they're good.
And obviously, a lot of people have their phones on them. And the last thing, which I thought was a bit weird or something from left field, was car keys. More and more cars have been made with push-button ignitions these days. And it's not just the top-end cars either. It's just, it's your more kind of normal cars like your Hyundais and Toyotas and all that sort of stuff.
That's a fad. That'll go away. That's big.
Keys would be more secure, wouldn't they, Will?
That's just a fad. A lot of them doing it. Well, there's other things too, and I don't understand how they've actually got around this. And because in Australia, there's a requirement that every vehicle must have a manual entry system. So I'm not actually sure how all these keyless are getting around that. But I think keyless is fun. It's great. It's one of those novelty ideas. But give a little bit of time, and I think the novelty will wear off, and people, you're still carrying your keys on you for your house and everything anyway. So
yeah, that's right.
I don't know.
Yeah, all right. That's good. I was doing the hand puppet for you there, Will. But your videos and audio was crazy. But all right.
Okay. I haven't had video from you guys for about 5 minutes. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, look, we're going to take a break. We're going to try and fix that for those who are watching, and we'll come back. Alrighty, heaps more to go. Let me start off with. Let's go with an email over the break. I'm pretty sure I haven't done these before. I might have. Who knows? But anyway, Phil, long time listener from the Gold Coast. Just a shout out. Howdy, Phil. How you going? And Greg. Now I think I might have mentioned he's a guy that makes. Or develops iOS apps for the iOS devices, and we've mentioned a few of his like what is it? I got or something or whatever they are. But I've mentioned them before. But he's got a new one. I want. So the idea behind this one is a global shopping list. You add things to the list when you think of them. Add them where you get them from. For example, you think of something you need from Bunnings, add it to the list. Then when you're at Bunnings, you can filter the list to see everything you need to get from Bunnings, which is a good idea. So I've already got it. It's great. It works good. I put a lot in my list, but I don't go shopping enough. So, but anyway, have a look on iTunes for that. I want. It is a good one. So good on you, Greg. He's pumping them out. I think that's about his 3rd or 4th one. So yeah, good stuff. All right, let's go with now. Look, Shane mentioned CES before. Now it is going in Las Vegas from January 7 to January 10. And depending on when you listen to this show, it's probably already finished. So, but look, there's lots of things happen over there. There's people walking off stage because teleprompters are failing. So it wasn't wasn't that a joke? Who was that? Was some director, wasn't it, Shane?
Yeah, he's the director of Transformers.
Yeah, it was a Hollywood director.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what's going on there? So apparently what happened was he came up on stage to do a speech. The teleprompter failed, and that was it. He must have panicked. He might not have known the speech. He might not have heard. But anyway, he took off.
It's not that it failed. What was happening was it was actually looping. So he'd get halfway through saying something, and then that text he's just read would come back again.
Oh,
so,
right. Well, that would
and
be...
if you've ever done podcasting, you would know how annoying that would actually be.
Well, it would be, but I think you would think as a professional, you try and wing it. You know, you wouldn't look at it, go, I'm not looking at that.
He did for 30 seconds.
And then he stormed off. But anyway, that's what happened. But also, something else that came out of CES that I picked up on is 3D printers. And no, not the normal 3D printers that make the old whatevers. These are food printers. So they will launch later this year. The machines make chocolate and sugar-based confectionery shaped in ways that would be difficult to produce using traditional methods. There you go. The small.
Done. I'll take 3.
Yes. So how awesome is that? Now look, we've just got a little slide up here for those who can see it, watching on the live stream. You can catch Aussie Tech Heads recording live Thursday night, 7:30 Queensland at aussietechheads.com.au/live. Now we do have a little image there of a head. It's like a bust, but it's just made of chocolate. So someone's, I don't know, taken a picture of someone's head and 3D'd it, 3D modelled it, and made a chocky out of it. Nice.
You know, it was funny when I first read this story. I was reading the just text-only version on my phone, flicking through it, and when it said, you know, crafting food with a 3D printer, all I could think of was, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's a cartoon called Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Oh, yes.
And for some reason, all I had was that movie running through my head.
Oh.
Or the Jetsons.
Yeah. Oh, I heard the Jetsons has come out. Is that a cartoon or is that a real life movie?
No, it was a cartoon from probably when I was a kid.
Yeah, but there's a movie now.
No, they're redoing a new one. I think it's live action.
Yeah, right. So these little chocky makers, little chocolate printers, the smaller one's called a Chef Jet. Now, it's limited to monochrome creations. Oh, dear. We're going back to those days, are we? But hang on, there's a larger one called a Chef Jet Pro. Of course it is. It wouldn't be called nothing else, would it? And it can create multicoloured objects. So how good is that? Also, they have a $10,000 model, a new $10,000 printer that prints ceramics, and another $5,000 one that creates multicoloured plastic objects. So I tell you, all this 3D printing, it's starting to take off, isn't it? It's starting to get really exciting.
Well, it's funny talking about 3D printing, actually, because I was just literally, before you even started talking about it, reading a story about how the US military is using 3D printers to actually repair their airplanes and things on short notice with, you know, if they're having trouble with availability of parts.
Yeah.
They're using customized 3D printers basically, and they're using them to create weird parts that they don't have in stock for whatever reason, or there's something they're trialing a different component to see how it reacts or how it's going to handle, you know. So that's a very interesting use case.
Well, I'm not sure if you're listening earlier this year, my car had a problem with the air conditioner, and it turned out to be just like a little plastic flap. And to get one from Japan was going to cost me a lot of money. And I thought at the time, wouldn't it be cool if I just had one of these plastic printers and just make one on the spot? It would have been great.
Well, you can. I mean, you know, the ironic part is the plastic printers plans are available. Well, the 3D printer plans are available for download on the internet. Part of the problem is you need a 3D printer to make some of the components that a 3D printer. So it's a bit of a problem there.
Yeah, but I think 3D printers.
But basically,
they're everywhere. Oh, they're going to be everywhere. That's going to be the next big thing. Shane, did you have a little story for us, please?
I did. I've got a few stories. The next one I'll do, which might be near and dear to Will's heart, there's a report that's just come out that basically has told us what we already know, that most Australians have crappy internet speeds. Aussies sit on the bottom of the world jealously watching on with download speeds often below 24 megabits per second. I'd love to have that. According to a study out by the government, 7.1 million Australians are getting less than 24 megabits from copper network, while 3.7 million others are located in areas where estimated peak speeds are less than 9 megabits per second.
Wow.
920,000 customers have less than 4.8 megabits second available. I'll probably fit into that category. The survey found that there are still 700,000 premises around the nation that are unable to get any broadband at all. These are the areas that will likely be prioritised from Turnbull's new multi-technology model, MTM, deployment, which will include fibre to the node, HFC, satellite and high-speed wireless networks. 3.1 million Aussies have access to high-speed broadband connections over either fibre to the node, hybrid fibre coaxial networks, and fixed wireless networks. According to the survey, these folks achieve download speeds of between 25 and 110 megabits, which is probably Glenn and not so much you at the moment, Will. The government and the NBN Co will use these data to prioritise the national broadband network rollout areas over the next few years, and a summary of the report is available on Malcolm Turnbull's website.
Oh, there you go. Let's all go to his website. Oh, let's all not. It'll crash.
Which ironically, yeah, I was going to say, which ironically over the weekend when people were trying to access it was down.
Oh, really? True. Oh, dear.
Yeah, because I heard about that on Friday night, I think, and I thought, oh, yeah, I'll go and have a look. I tried all weekend, and I think about like 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon, the site come up back up.
Oh. All right. Did you have a quick story, Will? We can squeeze in? Or
Yeah, I got a few. Just what we're talking about before, actually. Sorry?
Yep. Go.
Yeah, so this is really bad because my lag's about like 45 seconds, so I'm just trying to preempt what you're saying. But basically, what we're talking about before about home appliances needing the internet, well, LG's just announced their new LG Home Chat, which basically makes your entire house talk to itself. If you've got the LG Home Chat products, it goes everything from their new 4-door refrigerator, which concertinas, like the doors concertina back
Oh,
like
nice.
the wardrobes rather than just open. But it has the TV on the front, the ice dispenser, the whole thing. But it's smart enough. It has barcode scanners built into the doors. So as you put products in, take products out, it scans them. And then it knows what sort of products you have and where they are on the shelf. And so you have a shelf just for beer. It will actually weigh that shelf. And once it gets down to a predetermined weight, it will automatically put beer on your order.
Nice. Nice.
So that's the new fridge. So that's pretty cool. But it actually works. So they've got a whole range of products now that they're starting to introduce, and they'll all talk to each other and figure out. Say, for example, you've been watching a movie and you watch 2 movies in a row. Then all of a sudden it'll go, hey, why don't you go and show some love to your fridge or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Why don't you stop?
on the same sort of thing, there's a.
Sorry, Will.
Sorry, what? Where was I? Sorry, yeah, on the same sort of. Sorry, this is horrible. On the same sort of topic, there was a mob called Wemo. Now, Wemo's had sort of, I guess you could call it home automation, or at least sort of intelligent home products for quite a few years. They're not. It's part of Belkin's range. They started off with just having PowerPoint network adapters, and they've sort of expanded it from there. Their latest one is a crock pot or a slow cooker they've just released, which you basically preload with the stuff you want to put in before you go to work. And then at lunchtime, you log in on your phone, you say, turn on slow cooker, and turn on the air conditioner and turn this on and make this work and have these lights ready to come on, and you can do it all from your smartphone. Your whole house can be interactive. So they've got a full range of products, full range of kitchen products for everything from crock pots to kettles. So if you're 10 minutes from home, you can log into your coffee maker and say, start the coffee pot brewing. So it really is.
That's good.
It's kind of, I guess, if you've ever thought of the Jetsons and thought that'll never happen, well, guess what?
That's right. Well, thanks, Will. Look, yeah, so apologies. What's happening at Will's end is that we've got a slight Skype delay issue. But look, we're pushing on. We're pushing on anyway, and we thank Will for taking the time anyway to join us, even though he's got some lag issues there. But look, we're going to try and sort that out if we can. And here's some tunes. We'll be back. All right. Did you want to try and restart, Will? Or we've only got like probably 10 minutes to go. We can just keep going if you want.
Just screw it. I'll just keep going.
Yeah, all right.
I'm just going to try and I'll try and shut up unless I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, and when you talk, I won't talk, and like we're doing. All right, and all right. Now let's get the move on because we've got a couple of stories to get through. Look, I've got an Intel story. I think Shane's got an Intel story. Shane, do you want to do your little Intel story, and then I'll kick off with mine.
Yeah, sure, no worries. My little Intel story is, and my notes refreshed. Intel dual OS stuffing Android and Windows into the same PC. This is another one that's come out of CES. Here's what Intel is promising. The ability with the push of a button to switch between Windows and Android. It's supposed to be a seamless experience and a secure one, thanks to Intel's commitment to device protection. Asus announced a similar thing. It's dual booting Transformer book Duet at CES just an hour before Intel's announcement. But putting both Android and Windows on one chip is a distinct improvement, which is the way Intel's going, from the Frankenstein together Android Windows hybrid machines that have been trickling out for a year or so. So basically, Intel's got the technology now to on a single chip to put both, in this case, Android and Windows on, and as they say, it'll have the ability just with a press of a button to flick from one to the other.
Yeah, that's good. Well, my little Intel story is that look, they're phasing out the McAfee branding. A couple of years ago, I'm not sure how many years ago. Let me see if I can find it. But anyway, 3 years. 3 years ago, it spent $7.68 billion to acquire McAfee. Now, we all know what McAfee is. It's the security software that some people might like to purchase and put onto their machine. Now, Brian, somebody, it's just too hard for me, especially straight after Christmas, to pronounce these surnames. But Brian, CEO of Intel, announced that as new products are introduced, the McAfee brand name will be phased out and branded, wait for it, Intel Security. The shield, which represents the core values of security and protection, will remain. The rebranding will begin immediately, but the transition is expected to take up to approximately around about a year before it actually completes. So there you go. McAfee might not be hearing that too much more. It's all going to be Intel Security, which is probably a better thing. I think that is good. I think a lot of people do know McAfee, and they also probably know of the videos. That what's his name? Mr. McAfee, the founder, has been putting out.
That's obviously what he spent that $3 billion on their video.
Yes. So there's been. Is it John McAfee?
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, if you want to see a funny video, go onto the YouTube, go onto his channel and have a look. John McAfee, search for John McAfee or something. Then have a look at some of his videos. They're pretty out there. Some of them are quite funny, like professionally produced as well. It's not too bad. I think we did mention them at some stage on the show before. So that's what Intel's doing. I've done all that. Now, Yahoo. How's this? How is this? This is terrible. Yahoo malware. Malware has been found on the Yahoo's homepage. Isn't that terrible? That is absolutely disgraceful. Adverts on Yahoo's homepage were infected with malware designed to mine the Bitcoin currency, according to the security experts. Apparently it was only on for 3 days, but 3 days, people could, if you go into yahoo.com or wherever it is, I think Channel 7 uses Yahoo. What's Channel 7.yahoo.com or some, who knows, but anyway.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Yahoo confirmed that for a four-day period in January, malware was served in ads on its homepage. Experts estimate that as many as 2 million European users could have been hit. Now, Light Cyber is a security firm, said the malware was intended to create a huge network of Bitcoin mining machines. Generating Bitcoins is basically guessing numbers, says Michai Schulman, Chief Technology Office of security firm Imperva. Now, the first one to guess the right number gets 25 bitcoins. And if you have a large amount of computers guessing in a coordinated way, then you have more of an effect. Then you have a more effective way of making money, he added. Other than a computer running slower, victims will be unaware that the machine is being used in what could become known as a bitnet. Well, there you go. So some experts estimate that such networks could be generating as much as $100,000 US each day. How's that? Wow. Some bitcoins have risen in value. One bitcoin is now worth £1,000. So what's that about? Maybe, what's £1,000? $750? Something like that?
Yeah.
Something like that. It is becoming a lucrative market for online criminals. Wow. But I think, for that being up on Yahoo, they should have some way of screening the ads or something, shouldn't they? Like, I couldn't imagine this happening to Google. But, not on Google's. Well, you never know. You never know. But surely they got something. All right. Let's go and see. What are we doing? Let's go and see Will, if he hasn't fallen asleep. And we'll ask him for
No, I'm trying to get in front of you, but I'll just quickly have a couple of me. I've got to have Android stories in there. So just quickly, with the CES, Samsung has released their largest tablet yet, and this is ridiculous. It's 12.2-inch tablet. I guess it basically is a laptop replacement at that point, especially given you can get the case with the built-in keyboard. So I guess for all intents and purposes, it's a laptop now. It just sort of, 12.2-inch. It's also got a 950 milliamp battery, so it's getting pretty large. There's a lot of power packed in there. It's a Note Pro will come with both Wi-Fi and 4G models. Has a 2560 by 1600 resolution and an 8 megapixel rear camera, and the battery says that you can watch videos or you can stream videos for over 10 hours of playtime. So that's pretty neat. The one thing I want the Note 3 because, well, I don't know if you can see that, but my screen kind of looks like bad. That's what happens when you keep dropping it. Although, admittedly, I've got a new screen. The screen's $3 and takes about 15 minutes to change, but I just can't be bothered. But I want the new Note 3 and I want the new Samsung Gear smartwatch to go with it. Then they're doing package deals for that as well, so I can't wait for that. That is my next upgrade step. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I think 12.2 at that point, it's not really a carry around in your in your arm or in your back pocket sort of tablet at that point, is it?
No, I think that there's so many different sizes, and I think that just contributes to maybe the issues and problems that Android does face as an operating system. But I'm sure the smart cookies out there who develop for it and who make the actual Android system can get around it. But it does throw up some issues.
Yeah, and I mean, having said that too, I guess Apple's planning to release a 13-inch iPad Pro later this year, so
that's right.
That'll make the 12.2-inch look small, I suppose.
I can understand that Apple wants to do a bigger one. I get that. Like I can get, say, a big one for people who want a big one, a normal one for people who want a normal one, like the 10-inch, and then and one for people. So 3. So you got 3 and the iPhone. I think that's more than enough.
Just tuned in. We're talking about tablets.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
All right.
Yeah, I mean that's right. The three. Well, as I said, the 4 levels basically. Your normal phone. And then a couple of others for different. I mean, you may want there is situations where you do want a large one. For example, you're doing a conference with some, business associates around a table or something like that, and you want to actually show them a slideshow or something. The bigger tablet would be handy for that.
Yeah, that's right. So look, there are users this plethora of sizes. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think.
Also, having said that, I was using a friend's iPhone over the weekend. over Christmas.
Oh, wash your hands, Will.
And after using my Note 2, I could hardly use the keyboard. I got so spoiled. I think it's official. I cannot go to a smaller phone anymore.
Right. All right. Now, look, we've got a couple more things. After the break, we're going to come back with final thoughts and a few more stories. So stay tuned. All right, final thoughts and stories as promised. I've got a good story next. Here we go. Oh, look, I like saving my good stories to last. We'll go to Shane. Did you have any more stories, Shane?
Yeah, I got two more. The next one I will do is the one that is. See how I'm stalling until I find it. Here we go. Your next soft drink could come with internet access. OpenStack engineering manager Alvaro Lopez Ortega stumbled across the fact that the Coca-Cola company recently registered no less than 16 million MAC addresses.
Oh.
Ortega's first thought leans toward some sort of live connected can, presumably one that would be reusable, but it's hard to see the practicality behind something like that. He then goes on to say what's more likely is that the Coca's big plans in store for their fancy touchscreen freestyle machines, which are the new name for their vending machines. Just a few months ago, Coke told the Business Week about its interest in accepting smartphone payments and tracking user purchases for the purpose of occasional discounts and free drinks. Certainly makes sense for Coke to move towards networking vending machines. It would allow them to track inventory, making stocking decisions remotely instead of sending out a truck to check on each individual machine. Plus, this would also give the users the option to use their phones to connect to the vending machines, to play games and so on and so forth, to win free drinks and whatever else.
Oh, yeah, look, that's all good ideas. I'd love to see all that technology installed. And you think, as vending machine goes, you think that'd be pretty much high on their list, wouldn't you? Like, cut the wage of the poor guy that comes around, checks the machine, and you just know by logging in how many drinks are left in it and if it needs a top up or not. Yeah, that's good. Okay, well, let me finish off with my last one here, and then we can just wind up with our final thoughts here. Here we go. Everyone likes the old arcade games, don't they? Yeah, I do. The Pac-Mans and the Donkey Kongs and all that sort of stuff. Well, the ones when you stand on the tabletops or the stand-up machines. Well, the Internet Archive puts classic 70s and 80s games online. Classic video games from the 70s and 80s have been put online by the Internet Archive and can be played with a web browser for free. That's the best price. The collection has launched with games from 5 early home consoles, including the Atari 2600 and the ColecoVision. Oh, how long has it been since I've heard of the word ColecoVision? Wow. The games do not have sound. But they soon will, the Internet Archive said. Well-recognised titles such as Pac-Man, Space Invaders and Frogger are all in the archive, with more consoles and games expected soon. Now, there is a link in the show notes if you want to find your way to those games. The show notes are held on the aussietechheads.com.au/podcast webpage. All you got to do is go there. It's in the first title menu item or something, show notes, Aussie Tech Heads. You'll find it. You smart guys, I know you will. And you can go there, click on the link and go and play Pac-Man. Sweet. I used to love the Atari. The Atari 2600 was good, but just the original Atari. When I was a kid, geez, I remember just sitting there for hours and hours upon hours with little paddles playing Knight Rider or something. Something like that. It was Knight Rider or something like that. But yeah, that was good. And yeah, Donkey Kong. That was one of my favourite arcade games. That was pretty cool too. It's good. All right. Will, did you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, there's just a story. I don't know. I think I clicked on the wrong link when I was looking through my stories to read tonight. It is under the news.com.au technology section. But I'll just read you the second paragraph in the sentence. So it basically says, not only did Tutankhamun have his penis mummified at a 90-degree angle, he was also buried without a heart and covered in a thick layer of black liquid that may have caused his body to catch fire.
Wow. How's that? And I wouldn't be surprised if that was one of the games on the Internet Archive. No, but in all seriousness, I used to like that game too, Tutankhamun. It was good.
Tutankhamun, yeah, that was a good game.
But
I mean, I've read this entire story and it's really interesting. They've just now with some of the new technology based, they're talking about how they can scan inside the and get a proper reading of what's going on without actually destroying the body and things like that. And that's a couple of the high quality discoveries. Somebody was X-raying his penis, apparently.
Yeah, right. At a 90-degree angle. Yeah, as you do. As you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Sit on it, Malf. You wouldn't be, you wonder if you... wonder if those words went round the radiologist at any time. Yeah, all right. Okay, well, that's just about it for our first show back for 2014. So, yippee yahoo. Hope you enjoyed it. Next week we're going to have more stories and a lot more fun. And look, one final thought. I just wanted to send one of our longest and most loyal listeners, Milo, our sympathies. Milo lost his father over the Christmas break, and it was very sad. And no one enjoys losing any member of your family. And we feel for you, Milo, and we know it's tough, but. I know you can get through this, and you'll be right, champ. You'll be right. All right. So, yes, that's the end of the show. Okay. Thank you. And thanks to everyone.
That happened awfully quickly, didn't it?
It did.
Where'd they come from?
It did. Thanks to Will and Shane. And Will with his low bandwidth sitting in a little box over there. Look at him. There he is.
Best place for me. I'm safe and secure here.
Yeah, and also again, thanks Shane for your help the other night with my server 2012. It's now hopefully, fingers crossed, pumping out okay. It hasn't stalled since, so I'm happy. I was stuck for 2 weeks. All right, so thanks. So okay, guys, until next show, stay healthy and stay happy. Bye for now. Bye bye.
Yeah.